Alright. Red, green, Lukka. Lukka, one of the planeswalkers out of the new set. This is our second time playing this one through. Lukka's -2 is what we're looking to abuse in this deck. So his -2 says exile a creature you control, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with a higher converted mana cost. That card goes right onto the battlefield. So we've set our deck up here. So we have 12 1-mana creatures at the bottom end of our curve. And then the only creature on our deck that costs more than 1 is Godzilla, Doom, Inevitable. So this deck's, one of this deck's theoretical nut draws is you go turn 1 Arboreal Grazer, turn 2 Domri or Kiora, turn 3 Lukka, turn your Arboreal Grazer into a Godzilla, attack with your Godzilla on turn 3. Another very powerful draw that this deck is capable of doing is similar. You can go turn 1 Grazer, turn 2 Domri, turn 3 Sarkhan, make a dragon, and then on turn 4, you can play Obosh and attack with Domri, Sarkhan, and the dragon for 25. So last time we played this deck, we ended up killing our opponent on turn 4 for 25 damage on more than one occasion, which was kind of sweet. A couple of things that we're trying out here today. Because this deck is looking for a very specific combination of cards, we're trying out a couple copies. We're trying out Inquisitive Puppet as our third 1-drop creature here at the bottom, because the puppet does scry 1 when it comes into play. Inquisitive Puppet can also make a token, so if we get into a pinch and we need to kind of Hail Mary, try to high roll for the Godzilla off the Lukka, we can do that. However, when you Lukka a token, you do run the risk of getting a 1-drop, because tokens have converted mana cost of 0. And then I've got a couple copies of Footfall Crater in here, just kind of as filler, like it cycles for 1 mana, so the cost of including it is pretty low. While Godzilla does have haste, Footfall Crater can be useful because it can give our planeswalkers haste. So you can, with Footfall Crater out, play Sarkhan, turn him into a dragon the turn you play him, and attack right away, which is somewhat appealing. Another thing I'm trying different in the sideboard today that's different from last time is that we have Skarrgan Hellkite in the sideboard here at 4 copies in the heavily interactive / control matchups against things like Flash, for example. I think Skarrgan Hellkite having more threat density is the best way to approach those matchups. Another thing that we could consider doing out of the sideboard here is, instead of just having Obosh in post-board against the Flash decks, we could just board in 4 Ceratops and give up our companion to have 4 uncounterable threats. Before we give up the companion, though, I'd like to try out Hellkite. I think Hellkite might be good enough. Let's go ahead and dive on into some matches with this. I do think this deck is a really bad matchup against the Flash decks. I think it's got a lot of strength and oomph to punch through most other things, though. Its linear draws when it gets left alone felt very powerful last time we played it. Now, I don't think there's a lot of Thassa's and Heliod's in the format in my experience, Shadow Kid. I'd much rather have the Naturalize so I can destroy Embercleave against the red decks. Cavalo, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Sure. If we draw an untapped green source here on 1, this hand is pretty close to one of our best possible draws. And if we don't draw the untapped source and we just draw some other miscellaneous lands, the hand will likely still be very powerful. Wow, that's super unfortunate. Guess we have one more turn to hit a land here. Yeah, I had a submission to add this deck to the historic queue as well, so I'm sure we'll get to it there before long. I like that Domri lets your geese actually attack, which is sweet. Domri plus geese plus Obosh is actually a way we've beat people down a few times with this deck the other day when we were playing it. Just get like those kind of scrappy wins. Run! It's Godzilla! It's Godzilla, run! Is Lukka. Opponent's been hurt. I mean, this might be a mirror match. There's a chance it's a mirror and they just kept a bad hand. Also, like, other people have been playing this since we played it on Thursday, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's running around the ladder. Do we bring in Shock so we can kill their geese or their snakes or puppets in response to Lukka triggers? Probably. I don't know if I want Redcap Melee. I might want Redcap. I guess Redcap Melee, like, kills these, too. That's probably fine. What do I want to cut? I need 3 cuts here. I might just, like, trim 2 of these. I think that's fine. I just built this deck. At first game, I turned 3 Godzilla at someone. Yeah, you love to see it. I've been forgetting. I'm super out of it. I appreciate the pokes to update the stream title, folks. I keep missing that. I appreciate you. It's been a long couple of days. Yep. Oh, no. They say he's got to go. Go, go, Godzilla. Oh, they're just like playing a fair deck? Bless your heart, opponent. Bless your little girl heart. Playing fair magic over there. Alright, so do we Sarkhan first here, or do we Godzilla them? Like, I don't really just want to trade my Godzilla for this, right? I think I Sarkhan. I can Lukka twice, that's true. That's true. Alright, I'm into it. They could have second questing beast. They could also just take this hit and then hit me with this and then kill Lukka here. So they have some choices here. That means this Redcap Melee is live though, which is great. Domri's ambush would be exceptionally bad for us. Crunch. Haumph. Again, just to clarify so people understand how this... For more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player. Deals XX beasts with trample, where X is the amount of damage those creatures dealt to that player. So they get a 2/2? Is that am I understanding that right? They get a 2/2? And the 2/2 has trample. Okay, so this card seems neat. It like snowballs. It's a 6/6 trampler that then it makes things that make things. Also good when you draw 2 of them. Yeah, that makes sense. Am I dead? Is that lethal? That's exactly lethal, right? They attack with everything? Oh, they can trample the Ceratops. Alright, that makes sense. I was like, I must be missing something. This can trample the Ceratops. We were dead if they attacked with all 2. Was my pause and confusion. Alright, so if it's not a mirror, I don't want those, and I just want to beep beep go fast. Alright. Back to the game 1 plan. So, not quite turn 3, but turn 4 Godzilla. We take those around here. Because the goose won't be able to have another food for the turn 3, unfortunately.
Nothing like a bit of violence now and then. I'll be back after oh, I'm sorry. Were you doing something?
Alright, we put a cap in him. In for Kiora. I'm gonna need Trample Tribal with Cleave injected into my bloodstream soon. Sounds good, Worky. Thanks for the support, I appreciate it. Run! It's Godzilla! You love legendary figures with the D&D universe. There's a D&D universe? Like, hey, good games, Aturka. Your trample build seems sweet. Do you have a trample list you'd like to share if that was you? Worky there just cheered some bits to add a red-green trample deck to the queue, and I'd love to see what you have to start. Seems neat. No untapped green's a little sad. This hand's super keepable though. In for more mana. There are several D&D universes. Oh yeah, I guess that's fair. I read some of those books growing up. Maybe I'm supposed to take that next turn, so that way I could give the Skarrgan haste. Neverwinter. Yeah, I did play Neverwinter growing up. Do you? Is Dragonlance considered a D&D universe? I'm gonna greed and bottom that. Let's try and draw an untapped land. Don't quench me, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it. We are for now, JMP. As long as if we stay above 2,000 through the end of Blue Black Flash, I'm gonna add another deck or two on. Thanks everybody for hanging out today. Gonna brazenly borrow me. Cutthroat, sure. What are the odds Obosh results here? 0%? Less than 0%? Yeah, that's pretty normal around set release Draken. Like 2 to 3,000. 2 to 3,000 range is about average or so for me. This is towards the higher end of the average for me. Yeah, I think we just double cycle this turn. Hey, Gary B. Thanks for the 13 months. I appreciate the support. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So what are our best possible draws here? Just like running Doom Inevitables? That's what we would like.
Come on. I will consume you.
We're also just like hoping they don't. No, why would we need a command party bus? Is there something wrong with it? Can mods frag other mods? They cannot. Only I can time out the other mods.
I summon you.
Wow, get sharked. Rough. At least either of these trample, huh? We're gonna steal game one here. Looking like we might get to steal game 1. Are you trying to join the server using the desktop version of Discord? You cannot join subservers from mobile.
Listen to them roar.
So they gotta beat Dragon, they gotta beat Sarkhan. Double Brazen Bar where it keeps them alive here. So the planeswalkers that are creatures don't have haste. However, Lukka can Lukka himself and give me a Godzilla. Run! It's Godzilla! So Lukka has like pseudo haste with the Sarkhan. You play it, you plus the Sarkhan, you Lukka the Lukka, and get your doom inevitable. The Godzilla was inside us the entire time. Wow, they were actually gonna be okay. We needed to Lukka the Lukka, or we weren't gonna win. Go Godzilla. Oh no. They say he's got to go. Do. Is actual factual unsummon legal? I think it is, right? It is. Okay. So, in matchups like this, you want to bring in more threat density, and we want to cut some of our cards that are individually not threats on their own. So I think that means Kiora's coming out. Gosh, maybe we cut Domri as well. It's got to be crazy to cut him against the counterspell deck, though, right? He only makes creatures uncounterable, though. I guess making either of these uncounterable is fine. Yeah, maybe it's just the Finger Puppet. It's probably just the Puppet, you're right. What if I cut a land? Can I cut a land? How greedy is that? Appropriately greedy? It feels appropriately greedy. I guess 4 of my lands cycle anyways, though. This probably is just the Puppet, huh? Yeah, it's just the Puppet. This is mostly 4-ofs. I'm bringing in Redcap Melee, even though they're obviously not a red deck, because killing Nightpack Ambusher is very important. This opponent's also playing Great Shark, which is a 5/4, so Redcap kills that as well. That's true. Bringing in melee is another reason not to cut lands. Agree. Leave a Battle Angel. Thanks for the 16 months. Thanks for keeping me around. This hand really wants to draw a green source on 1. If we draw Forest or Stomping Ground on 1, this hand's kind of insane. Whew! You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. The first Domri's gonna get quenched and be sad, but you know, details. This stream was pre-recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Whew! I'm not attacking because 1 point of damage is not worth my Domri taking 2 from a flash creature here, I don't think. If we draw an untapped land, we can Domri uncounterable Preypiercer. I think we just do this. They have a favorite deck so far. You can always find my favorite decks from every single day that I'm live on my website here. Tag a favorite every day. Now, unfortunately, Domri's Plus only makes creature spells uncounterable, so he will not help me sneak Lukka into play. Wait. They printed a strictly better unsummon? Is that real? Oh, it's opponent controls. It's not that. Okay. It's not. It's opponent controls. I was like, that can't be right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you doing something?
Hey, awesome small car. Run! It's Godzilla! It's Godzilla! Run! What? Grazer is evolving. Crunch. You love to see it, chat. They say he's got to go. Go, go, Godzilla. They're not out of it yet. They have 2 draws here. They have a lot of bounce spells. Yep. This matchup's very bad for us. Like, I feel like things went pretty okay for us in this game, and, like, we're still pretty far behind. There's not Boda. It was a cut in today with dollars. I think we just hope this resolves and then we attack. And then, like, if they have a couple of blanks here, so, like, if they want to kill this, they have to give up their Night Pack or their Sea Dasher. And then Lukka can turn this Grazer into another. For fuck's sake. Oh, it's so vomit-inducing. Yeah, it's rough. great. The Grazer's actually great here because it blocks the 8/8, and then we're not dead. So they decided to try and leave us dead on board. So now they have to draw a live one, or we sit here and continue to play the waiting game. That's actually a really good draw. Gives me another blocker or something to potentially turn into a second Godzilla next turn. So we get to trade this off for these. And again, the way damage doubling works is, and how assigning damage works, it's super unintuitive. So you have to assign 3, 3, 2, and then those individual damages get doubled. So you only double up damage to them for anything you'd be trampling over. So these actually just trade and nothing gets through. Yeah. Does not work the way we would like it to work. Reverse Pog. It's been a close game, even considering the way their stuff's lined up. So what's our best draw here? Another 1-mana creature? Okay. So, assuming we have to assume these are blanks. Like I said, we have no player agency who's gonna like take our stuff. This, if this survives, we can run back the plus Lukka himself, turn into Godzilla next turn. If they have like Stiff Breeze here, we're just super dead though. Just actual 0 blanks in the top, whatever number cards in their deck there. It's a rough one. I think I'm happy with how I board it. Just go ahead and run it back. Try and take this one on the play. The Octopus provided them like just enough cards there. The cards they hit were all relevant. Yeah, they played 4 lands in 4 turns, and then just all the gas. We should splash blue-white for Teferi. I really feel like they should give green some kind of counterplay against counterspells. Maybe like a 1-mana instant that stops their counterspells from working till end of turn. Something like that could be really neat design space to explore, I think. Could be it. Could be interesting. Alright, so we're just hoping for an untapped land next turn. Maybe it could draw a card. No, I think offhand, if you made it 1 mana, having it draw a card is too good. But you could have it do something like, I don't know, you could have it like Scry, maybe. To work on discard spells too. I'm no magic designer, but discard spells too, that sounds way too pushed. They'd never print something like that. Wow! Hide your memes, chat! They're coming for our memes. That's just rude. Yeah, thanks, Gyruda. Thanks, Gyruda. And this is the part where none of these 4 cards resolve, or they resolve and then they get Brazen Borrowered.
You will feel the lick of my blade.
we gonna Brazen Bar with a token and then attack it, or like what's the deal here? What kind of angle are you working over there, opponent? You're gonna Borrower the token. Nope, just nothing, eh? Stone cold nothing, eh? Yeah, Gyruda is almost assuredly 8 white cages in their deck. I'm so confused by their sequencing. I was gonna play this in the open, but watching this matchup, I'm gonna go back to my roots and play red deck wins. Yeah, I agree. Do not blame you. This matchup's very hard. Opponent just like also on 4 lands, all gas again, it looks like. See some people talking about Sarkhan static text and Obosh in chat. So yeah, the dragon deals the damage. So dragon tokens deal 1 while Obosh is out, but say Skarrgan Hellkite would deal 2 because this is odd, whereas tokens are even. I mean, like, any counterspell is good versus the Gyruda deck. They're trying to resolve a 6-mana creature in a format without Cavern of Souls. Are we like throwing away a wolf to deal 3 damage? What punishes this? Is there anything that punishes this block? There's not, right? Like what's a card they could realistically be playing that punishes this block? Second wolf. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm scared. There's fear. There's fear in my dojo chat. Maybe that's worth it. Maybe that's actually worth it. Because if I block there and they flash a Night Pack, they lose a wolf, they lose this other wolf, and then Sarkhan happens. Cavern of Souls, get out of here. That card's a real stain. I just like have nothing and we're gonna win in the air again. That would be great. Brazen Borrower, kill me. Oh, we're just dead, right? We're dead on board. They block 1 and we take exactly 12. Or exactly 17. 12 plus 5. Gross. How long does it take the Flash player to figure out attack with all kills us? Just in case. And again, matchups like this are a good example of why it's hard to say what's going to be reasonable or not in a format until things start to settle a little bit. And even then, sometimes formats never settle. They get a little bit cyclical in nature, where like what's good week to week depends on like what people are playing. If the Flash deck is tier 1, our deck is probably unplayable that we're currently playing. If the Flash deck is just around the fringes, I think our deck is a very good linear game plan to run people down. I think people who aren't interacting with us that much tend to be very good matchups. How far into the set are we? About 40 minutes. It's got another 45 minutes, half hour with this one. Oh, rolling into some Temur Elementals. The Temur Elementals deck is the Yoron variation, the 80 card Elementals. Looks like Temur Adventures. That deck was gasoline, wasn't it, Bob? I was very, very pleased with the result. As much as I love Historic, Bob, it's definitely objectively true that Standard's more popular at the moment. That's always true at set releases, though. Might end up being too slow here. Yep. The Jeskai control deck in Historic we played this morning in Historic was very good. I agree. Good set of games, felt competitive, a lot of player agency in all the games that we played. Hey, Genesis, thanks for the year and a half. Welcome back. How's Puppet versus Viper been? You know, I don't know if I have strong feelings on that. I guess in a matchup like this, where we're getting beat down by Lovestruck Bees, Puppet's a lot better. This matchup's probably pretty bad for us too, actually, huh? Maybe this deck is just bad. Because, like, Brazen Borrower also is kind of a beating. They're like, Borrower our token here, and then, like, just smack the... Oh, no Borrower. Okay, so you're saying there's a chance. If they don't have Borrower, we might see, like, a Redcap Melee out of their sideboard with Fae of Wishes here. They could grant it for that. Yeah, Borrower and Teferi Time Raveler invalidate a lot of archetypes. Just like there's a lot of cards that just, like, become unplayable when they're, like, randomly sent back to your hand 2 or 3 times per game. If you want a deck that plays to the Board Singer, I think you just need to play something else is the reality of it. Like, if you're looking for cards that, like, do, like, this deck has two plans. It's trying to do both of them as efficiently as possible. When you get into other things that try to play to the board, you can't Lukka combo. There's a very real chance that a better variation of Gruul is a deck that's just, like, using Lukka for his +1 instead of trying to cheese people with the Godzilla card. So Obosh can trade with the Lovestruck Beast here at least. If they have an untapped land, they can play a 7/7. And at this point, we're just pretty solidly outclassed, right? Like, even if we get to do our thing is worse than just, like, what their Beanstalk Giant is. And we're not even anywhere close to doing our thing, even if we could. Good example of, you know, playing against Brew. We played against a lot of Brews with this the other day when we gave it a try, and today we're running into some more of the established decks from previous seasons, and it doesn't really seem like our Brew is competitive. I mean, have you looked at the Aethergust decks, Anti-Trumpet? A lot of the Aethergust decks are green decks. Well, I mean, like, so what we're bending over backwards to do is good for a window. It just doesn't have staying power. So, like, what we're doing is reasonable for, I don't know, let's say, like, the first 6 turns of the game, but we're not a deck that has any sort of longevity to it. We're not a deck that, like, as the game continues to go on, what we have to do is impressive. So, like, what we're doing is fine for the first few turns. But it does fall off rather quickly. I agree with that sentiment.
Let's see some management. Oh, I wish you could see your face when I was beating you.
Main deck negate. Yep. And I keep the land there because it lets Obosh get into play next turn, which lets my motley crew beat down here for extra. Domri only makes creatures uncounterable, so plussing Domri before Kiora didn't really matter there with my sequencing. Is that another flash deck? Main deck negate makes me think it could be like a Temur Reclamation deck too, I suppose. I think I'm nowhere near arrogant enough, Anti-Trumpet, to say I understand what taking Aethergust out of the format would do to the format. And anybody saying they understand or know that with certainty is an idiot or they're lying to you. I think if a card like Aethergust is being main decked commonly, it's probably a sign that there's not a lot of color diversity in the format. Can they be idiots and lying? Of course. I would by no means ever say I guarantee this format's better without this card, because you just can't know that. There's too many variables in Magic. Anybody who's played a little bit of Magic knows just like how wrong that is to expect. You just can't. Natural End seems fine against the Reclamation deck. Other than that, we're probably just racing here. Do I expect them to have a lot of counterspells? Maybe just bring in the Hellkites for threat density here. Kind of expect that they have main deck negate. They probably have a lot of counterspells going on. Let's try that. I think there is a chance that this format would, for at least me personally, be more enjoyable if Field of the Dead was legal. I think seeing the impact Field of the Dead has had on Historic, I think Field of the Dead would have a positive impact on this format because the types of decks that it preys upon are the types of decks that are kind of obnoxious. Like, having Field of the Dead to prey upon decks that want to play Brazen Borrowers and counterspells seems pretty reasonable. Like, they can't counterspell zombie tokens. They can't just sit there behind a wall of counterspells and do nothing. Yeah, field. I think the highest placing Field of the Dead the highest placing copy of Field of the Dead in the historic tournament last weekend was like 14th place, if I recall correctly. And the types of decks that tend to prey on Field of the Dead are the types of decks that, like, play fairly honest Magic, in my experience. Well, you know, 27 lands leader, something like that. You are on 14th with Yarok. I think you are the top placing Yarok player. No, that's not true. So you're thinking German Space Ace of... I'd encourage you, German Space Ace, to just go look at some historic decks. Historic's, like, relatively close to standard at this point. So, like, it's a pretty reasonable comparison until the formats deviate some more. But, like, the types of decks that are good and the types of cards the field deck plays... The field decks tend to be fundamentally different than these Nissa Hydroid Crisis decks that you see in Standard. Yeah, there's also a few different Field of the Dead decks in Historic. It isn't just, oh, they're the field deck. Maybe I should have kept those instead of shipping them to the bottom. I guess I just start casting spells. At the end of the day, it's kind of a pointless conversation, I think. I don't really expect them to unban anything in Standard. Based on how long it took them to unban Rampaging Ferociton when it was banned and still didn't need to be for a while, I kind of expect... Yeah, there's a lot of trample. Questing Beast, for all the fun we make of Questing Beast with its many keywords, I think Questing Beast is actually a really well-designed card. You think Standard's going to have a crazy wide variety now? I think the latter currently has a lot of variety in it. I'm interested to see what it looks like a month from now. And that's why I made a point to put the next Hoglandia open a week from today, next Saturday. Because even if this Standard ends up being a trash fire, like, we're not going to know if it's a trash fire for another month, right? It takes a little while for the optimism to get beaten out of us. Yeah, it's just a new set thing, Potter Ghost Gaming. Optimism abounds. There's lots of things to explore. It genuinely takes a while to figure out new things, right? Like these flash decks that are good and the Teamer Adventures deck we just got crushed by, like, those decks are easy to put small upgrades into, right? Like, slotting small upgrades into existing decks, quick and effective. Figuring out entirely new archetypes, not quick, but can often be effective still. I think I'm bottoming that, just looking for lands. Maybe it's right to keep the Lukka as the extra payoff there. The mutate decks to me, as I continue to explore them, feel like the thing that's like, there's probably something here. And the mutate decks, there's so many permutations, and not only permutations of how you can build the mutate decks, but sequencing when you're actually playing them, that one, finding the right build, and then two, learning the ins and outs to play that right build appropriately are two things that are going to be very important to learn how to do with it. Just the number of small nuances I felt like I've seen in terms of not only what cards we're putting in the mutate decks, but like, okay, I'm supposed to mutate under here. I'm supposed to mutate over here. It's not always clear cut in terms of I want to put the biggest creature on top. Sometimes I want to mutate to avoid Aether Gust. Sometimes I want to mutate to avoid Elspeth Conquers Death. Like there's a lot of play to it. Don't you tell my octopus how to live his life, Blad. My octopus is a strong, independent sea creature that don't need no magic players, okay? He does what he wants. Yeah, sometimes you want to mutate to put King of the Cosmos underneath so it can high roll into another King of the Cosmos to get more flying creatures out. You see an expansion explosion here for 6. Just for 4, so they can hold up Aether Gust or Disdainful Stroke? I'm gonna be done with this one. I think I'm off this archetype in Standard. We've got it in Historic in the queue, and I think having Land War Elves as another 1-mana accelerant is a big power level upgrade for this deck. There's also less Aether Gust, Brazen Borrowers, and Tefris in Historic in my experience, just because there's a little bit more deck diversity there than what we didn't see it in Standard seasons past, but I feel like we beat up a bunch of other brews on Thursday, and today's run just wasn't quite as successful. We hit more decks that were like good decks in previous seasons, things like Flash and things like Temur Adventures and things like Temur Reclamation, and just the flurries of Aether Gust and Brazen Borrowers and just slew of interaction. Our deck kind of doesn't play that well through all that interaction. And we're just like left to our own devices and mulligan accordingly. What we're doing is appropriately linear and powerful when it does its linear thing, but there's just too much interaction. The types of interaction that'll be playing, I don't think are things that we can build our deck to play through. These kind of monster style decks in general are really going to have a hard time cutting through those types of cards. All right, what are we doing? We got some Temur Elementals up next, which is actually Yorion Elementals. And this is an archetype that's probably going to be okay against things getting bounced because we got lots of things with wonderful enters play effects. I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll while I get my client restarting, get my deck list updated everywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.